Whenever I visit a market, I always see so many street vendors around, and I feel, what are we doing for them? Because this is such an unorganized community. So, what are we doing to make them organized and turn them into a formal community? So, that's when I came across this topic, which is what we are going to study today. But before that, hi everyone, I'm Surbhi. Welcome back to Equipoise Classes. If you're new, welcome to Equipoise Classes. What we do here is that it's all about economics, but we are trying to connect economics with our day-to-day lives. So this is a day when I bring a important economics topic from current affairs. And now what I've started is I directly pick up newspaper, and if I've seen one article in newspaper which I find is very relevant for everybody, any economic enthusiast, it would be very important for you to know certain things. And that's the article that I bring up here. That serves three purposes. One of the major purposes, that if you're appearing for any entrance exam, it will help you to, one of the major problems that students face is that how to read newspaper, especially for any examination. So I feel that is the one purpose. When you'll read the newspaper directly with me, you would know that what is important, what is not, how to connect it with our topic. So everything is sorted here. And also we get to know many things, many new things about the topic. So, three purposes are solved with one article or, with one video. So that's why video. And without blabbering any further, I would want to share the screen and would want you to know that what I'm talking about. So this is our today's topic. Just give me a minute. I'll adjust the screen so that there's no hustle. Yeah, okay. So, all right. I think that's fine. Our topic is PM-SVANidhi. So what is PM-SVANidhi? SVANidhi ka full form kya hai? What is this thing all about? Okay, that is what we are going to study today. The major thing you can read is the article says that PM-SVANidhi, an idea that helps businesses to go formal. All right. But before that, I would want to skip the screen and come back to another screen, which is PM-SVANidhi, PM Street Vendors Atmanirbhar. So PM-SVA matlab Street Vendors Atmanirbhar Nidhi. Okay, so that is the definition, the full form of PM-SVANidhi. इसकी details देख लेते हैं थोड़ी सी before going into the article, so that एक basic पता होगा ना तो article समझना थोड़ा और easy हो जाएगा. PM-SVANidhi is a central sector scheme, micro credit scheme है, ठीक है. लॉन्च हुई थी 2020 में, 4 years हो चुके हैं इसे लॉन्च हुए हुए. किसने लॉन्च की थी? By Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to provide hand-holding support to street vendors. The scheme facilitates a working capital collateral-free loan, that you don't have to put any of your asset as a collateral, and it will give you a hand holding working capital collateral free loan of rupees 10,000, okay, with subsequent loans of rupees 20,000 and 50,000 with a 7% interest subsidy. All right, so the scheme focuses on increasing digital footprint in India. They are trying that even the street vendors do keep up that barcode and they accept digital payment, they promote digital payment so that they easily get loans. That is something that, we are promoting digitization. To incentivize the adoption of digital transactions, a cashback of up to rupees 100 per month is given to street vendors. All right, so let's read the aim and let's get back to the article that we are going to read. So first of all, the aim is that the scheme aims to formalize the street vendors and open up new opportunities for the sector to move up the economic ladder. Okay, because there are many street vendors. Street vendors represent a very important constituent of the urban informal economy and play a significant role in ensuring availability of the goods and services at an affordable rates at the doorsteps of city dwellers. They are known as vendors, hawkers, thelawala, rehriwala. Okay, I don't know this language, but yeah, maybe it's famous in some other town. Theli Phadwala. So there are many languages in which these are the terms that are used for the street vendors. That's it. Okay. In different areas or context, the goods supplied by them include vegetable, fruits, ready-to-eat street food, tea, pakoda, bread, eggs, textile, apparel, footwear, artisan products, books or stationery, etc. The service include barber shop, cobblers, pan shops, laundry services, etc. So these services are also thelawala and street services. Okay, street vendor ka services. Now let's come back to our article that we are going to read today. All right, so I'll zoom in further so that we pick up paragraph by paragraph. And today I've already highlighted so that you know what are the important areas in this article. So we'll read the article. Street vendors are instrumental to the Indian economy. That means they are important. The message echoed in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's address at a global fintech fest on 30th August. In his speech, he discussed India's milestone in fintech, emphasizing the benefits of PM-SVANidhi scheme. Okay, all right. Okay. He spoke of how street vendors are now able to take collateral-free loans under the scheme and how enabled by fintech, okay, and based on digital transaction records, they will keep getting more loans to expand their business. That is what he said. Okay, so in the process of rebuilding urban spaces, thousands of small businesses and other informal dwellers get displaced because whenever we are making some urban formalized place, so we displace the street vendors that used to be there. Okay, whenever we are creating a space, whenever we are creating some urban building, what we do is we displace the street vendors that were there. So where do they go? So that was a problem. That was a major problem. All right, leading to breakdown of various commodities, communities, and livelihood. So because they lose their livelihood, right? Because you would have seen, I once went to Sarojini Nagar and I could see as soon as the MCD departments or municipal departments or police comes in, and every street vendor either has to shut their shop, or if the police find any street vendor, they'll take their supply with them. So it's like it's a very problematic situation for them. So street vendors are one of such vulnerable groups. In developing countries, authorities tend to regard street vending as unlawful and disruptive. So we call it unlawful and disruptive because we are also one of the developing economies. They believe that strict law enforcement is necessary to keep public spaces clear for pedestrians and vehicles, tend to keep street vendors under the constant threat of eviction, because there are laws and that says that streets should be kept free for pedestrians and also like bicycles and all. But if there are street vendors, bicycles cannot be running or something. So that is that constantly keeps the street vendors alarmed. So they are under a constant pressure and a threat of eviction, so they cannot work freely. Fortunately, with recent policies, especially the PM-SVANidhi scheme, the discourse on India's street vendors have seen significant shift. Okay, with the focus now on drawing them into the formal economy. That's a part of street vendors are part of informal economy. So what we want is, we want that street vendors, because they constitute a huge portion or an important portion of informal economy, we want them to follow the footsteps and come into the formal economy sector. Okay, and in 2017-18, the periodic labor force survey recorded 2.7 million street vendors, a figure that grew to 5.9 million in 2022 to 23. So in a way, this can be good or bad. What we are saying is that in 2017 year, from 2017-18 to 2022, within 5 years, the street vendors have almost doubled. Is it good or bad? Can be both. Like, it's depending on the perspective. One way we can say it's good that, other than begging or remaining jobless, at least so much of population is deciding to do something. But at the same time, we say that, we are unable to create good quality jobs, because of which, every person has to go and become a street vendor, because it's not easy. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not derogating any job, but it's a high demanding job. It's like you have to be on the streets for 12 hours. You have to shout at your loudest pitch and you have to sell your product with so much of competition all around. So that's not a job that one would want to opt if they have more skills. But because we are not creating enough jobs, which is why they have to step into this sector. But then, as I said, if you look it through the other lens, you will say that at least they are not, enjoying their meals being jobless. At least they have decided to do something of their own. So at least the population is not begging on the streets and saying de do de do de do dua lagegi. Aise nahi ho raha. They are working hard, they are selling something, and then they are earning their bread and butter. So in a way, it's good also. So we can say both the theories apply here. Okay, this increase largely across the cities and towns indicates that they are not just contributors to local commercial activities, but also key players in larger economic system. Yeah, this also indicates this, because increase of the street vendors means that why would somebody set up their, why would somebody want to be a street vendor? And where would they want to be? there, where the demand is high, where you are going to the thela walas and you're asking for vegetables and you're going for fruits. So when you are demanding, that is when they are supplying. Otherwise, if they won't set up their thelas at a place where there's no demand, thela walas won't set up their thelas on the highways or somewhere else where they know कि यहाँ पे कोई रुकेगा नहीं. There's no demand, right? So if they are increasing in number, which means that they are also contributing in the commercial activity and they are contributing in the economic activity as well, because we are also demanding. That is why they are setting up. Okay. As per PLFS, Periodic Labor Force Survey 2022-23, India street vendor composition shows that bulk are concentrated in Maharashtra. Maximum are in Maharashtra, 20.8%. Then Karnataka, 9.2%, and Tamil Nadu, 7.9%. While union territories have the most street vendors as a proportion of states and UTs workforce, led by Chandigarh. Chandigarh mein sabse zyada hai, followed by Delhi, 2%, and Goa. So they are concentrated in the places where people are demanding, where people are such they have the capacity and they go and demand. Wahan pe unka concentration is higher. Okay, going deeper into the composition data of street vendors, some disparities are evident in the average wages earned. For instance, the average annual wage of street vendor in Chandigarh and Maharashtra are rupees 1.5 lakh and 1 lakh. So in Chandigarh, average annual earnings of a thelawala or a street vendor is rupees 1.5 lakh they are earning every year, while in Maharashtra they are earning 1 lakh. So there are disparities. Okay, as a broad observation, street vendors in states or UTs where they are in high concentration earn less than those who operate in the states or UTs where they show lower density but form a higher share of workforce. Okay, so that's something very natural that I said, that kahan pe set up karenge. Okay, in such a scenario, PM-SVANidhi offers crucial support by facilitating financial access regardless of the market condition in their region. Okay, so there comes the role of PM-SVANidhi scheme. But let's see why was it launched. Okay, so I've highlighted in different color and I've zoomed in more. So the scheme was launched by the center in 2020, as we read, to provide collateral-free working capital up to, as I said, rupees 10,000. Further, 20,000 to 50,000 bhi hoga with a 7% interest subsidy. Okay, as we read earlier in the beginning of the video. So loans to street vendors whose livelihood were impacted by pandemic lockdowns. So the principal objective was to help them resume their businesses, but it also was designed to reward digital transaction even as it incentivized regular repayments. So we were, in a way supporting them, that, street vendors were hit in lockdown, as we all know, because these businesses, Zepto and Instamart, Swiggy Instamart, and this thing, what do we have? Blinkit. So every such venture took birth during COVID pandemic, because everybody was locked at their homes, and they needed services. So then such services took birth, because of which street vendors were affected. And now street vendors are so affected that, a good population and a young working population who are living alone is dependent on Blinkit, Swiggy, Instamart, and Zepto. Even though they charge a really high price, something that you can get from street vendors for just rupees 300, you get from Blinkit, or they charge so much of platform fee, this fee, that fee, delivery fee, packing fee, maintenance fees, and after so many fees, something that you can get for rupees 300, you get for 500. Okay, so that doesn't make sense, but people have paying capacity, so they are paying. But even street vendors got hit, so we bought in PM-SVANidhi so that they can resume their businesses. But at the same time, government incentivized digital payment. Government said that why not, if we are benefiting them with something, we are giving them collateral free loans, so why not incentivize digital payment, and why not equip them with digitization? So that will help them, and that's how they'll get loans, because they will have to do the digital payment frequently. Okay, in a span of 4 years, the scheme has sanctioned rupees 12 approximately 13,000 crore worth of loans to 6.5 million beneficiaries from a pool of 11.2 million. So it's like 11.2 million were the applicants, and out of those also there's a screening process, and not everybody can get the loan, and you need to put up that filter also. You can't give loan to everybody who's asking. So 6.5 million people have still got the loan. Okay, and this is quite commendable, in addition to a recent 2024 budget discussion. We are also planning to develop 100 weekly street markets in selected cities in another step. We want to integrate street vendors into formal organized economy. Okay, and if we want to organize them, if we want to make the formal economy, because you would know, if you'll visit Beijing or if you'll visit any famous country, everybody, every city, in every foreign country also, they have famous street markets. And I truly believe that, if you have been anywhere, like in Delhi, we call our famous street markets as, Sarojini Nagar, Janpath, and even in foreign country you go, they have their famous street markets. In US also you go, recently I was seeing somebody who visited US, and they were showing that, they went to their famous street market. So everybody has street markets. So we should plan, organize, and that there's nothing bad. We are trying to bring them together, and we are trying to create a formal economy, which is actually going to help in future. Okay, so these incentives highlight the potential to increase their economic contribution with adequate support. Okay, so we want to increase their economic contribution, while PM-SVANidhi has done well to empower street vendors. So everything comes with their pros and cons. Nothing is always beneficial, right? So there are problems also that we should address. And what are the problems? Number one is proper identification of street vendor is also important, because every benefit that government wants to give to the concerned person, they are failing to identify the actual concerned person. So somebody above the actual concerned person, the creamy layer gets all the benefit, who already have the benefits, who doesn't require it. So the benefits don't reach to the people who actually need them. That is the problem. The identification is problem. And once you've identified also, even then there are issues. Okay, because people don't know whom to approach for loan. So the street vendors are not aware. Lack of awareness is another issue, I would say. That thela wala, in standing outside my block, he's selling vegetables, he needs money, he asks me for money, that he says, okay ma'am, please meko 3500 de do, main aapko agle mahine de dunga. He doesn't know that there's availability of collateral free loan from government. He doesn't know anything about PM-SVANidhi. Okay, and I randomly went to the street vendors and asked, okay, bhaiya aapko pata hai PM-SVANidhi kuch hai? And they're looking at me like I'm a fool. So I also felt like, okay, what am I doing? But it's important, because how will otherwise you would know the field condition? Because yahan baith ke screen ke aage saying anything that, okay, we are doing this, government is doing this, government is doing this, it's easy, but people are not aware. So जिनके लिए कर रहे हैं उन्हें नहीं पता कि उनके लिए ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है. So it is important to make them aware about what are the potential things that are happening for you and in your benefit. Okay, this requires active participation, and yeah, this again requires active. Not government sitting, one person sitting there can do everything, right? You need active participation of the state government, the local government, like even the local communities here. Everybody making them aware that, okay, आप लोगों के लिए ये benefits है, and you can avail them. Either, you can create an advertisement, very infographic and pictorial advertisement, where it is self-explanatory that they are getting benefits. So it is important to create that awareness. Then street vendors mostly operate in a gray zone of the law. What is the gray zone of the law? Because, their right to work is often in conflict with right of other citizens to freely use public spaces. So everybody has the right of other citizens who are not street vendors. Their right is to freely use the public space, whereas street vendors can claim that we have right to work. So that's a conflict that's happening. Okay, and we need to be under the constitutional framework in such a way that both the parties are in balance. That is also important. So, okay, let's move ahead and let's read. From planning perspective, permits of licenses issued for street vending are not just simple decision by a city administration, but a tool that keeps these conflicts under control. So it is important that the city administration plans everything and then decides what to do. The crux of the matter is that regulation of street vending is not as simple as merely enforcing rules of conduct. Basically, वो कुछ बना देना इतना नहीं है, उसको implement करना ज़्यादा है. So that is the crux. That it's not as easy as it looks. दूर से देख के you can say, oh ma'am, you're sitting in front of the screen, you're opening the newspaper, you're teaching us. How easy is this? Can we also begin? It looks easy. Although you can try, once you get a hang of it, it's not that difficult, I would say, but everything is not so rosy, hunky-dory that, everything is very easy and all that. No, everything is not that easy. So that's the thing with government also, that we've come with a scheme. It's good to read. It feels very idealistic that, okay, wow, this is happening in my country. But is it actually happening? Is it just I feel it's just an idea or just a written theory thing. Practically, I feel it's not implementing well. They are not implementing it well. That's something that I would want to point out here. The proper interpretations of rights provided by India's constitutional framework, including the right to work. It also requires a delicate balance between legal aspects and reality of social and geopolitical circumstances. Very important, very important. Laws and legal, basically the legal requirement is that, okay, you don't set up street vendors, should not be here, should not be here. But at the end, there's a reality. When we are on the streets, on the red lights, and people are begging for money, सेइंग कि दे कुछ तो दे दुआ लगेगी, वो कारों पे एकदम खटखटाने लगते हैं, ओके, एंड दे डू सच स्टफ, एंड वी से कि कुछ काम क्यों नहीं कर लेते. बट व्हेन दे आर working as street vendors, then we are saying आप यहाँ से हटो. So we have problem in everything. Not we also, they would also have. Human being has problem in everything. Even if something happens as per your wish, you would still have a problem with it. Okay, so if you say, ma'am, do this, if I'll do what you say, if I don't do what you say, then you have a problem. But if I do something that you are saying, even then you would have problem. कि मैम ऐसे क्यों नहीं किया, ऐसे ही करना था, वो भी कर दूंगी, then also you would have some problem. Every human being is cycled or wired like that. Okay, so it's not your, I'm also saying I'm also like this. So every human being is wired in such a way. So we need to create a balance. Okay, we need to have the reality check that, okay, these are the legal aspects, but this is actually the reality of the social and the geopolitical circumstances in our country. So for example, they are giving example also, cities must come up with the strategies aimed at protecting the income generating activities of street vendors and also address the interest of other residents who need access to shared spaces. Because if you need access to the shared space, okay, this much access you have, and the residents should say that, okay, we are coming together collectively. You don't set up your thelas here, but you can set up here collectively. So they should come together as so that the economic activities are running and nobody gets displaced, or nobody's livelihood is impacted. That is critical. This aspect is a big challenge that complicates the disposition of public policy to street vending. Legal norms should not only enable street vendors to make a living this way under appropriate rules and regulations, but also should look urban environment within which they operate. Okay, so everybody should, street vendors should also look at the urban environment, but I feel that it's more of our duty. But that's okay. Article has to balance. This is an article, and they have to. But while writing, a writer always has to balance between stating the context, to stating the good, and then the pros and the cons, and then a writer always leaves it up to your free will. They provide you every information. I feel a good writer is somebody who writes everything, but do not say that follow my footstep, or do not focus only on one judgment. They tell you everything. These are the pros, these are the cons, this is the good by government, this is the bad by government, this is good by street vendors, this is not good by street vendors. Now it's up to you to form your judgment. That's the best thing. Okay, so okay, the challenge posed by street vending is microcosm of India's broader one, broader one of urban governance, which also requires innovative thinking and useful solutions. Okay, PM-SVANidhi scheme has played an exemplary role in laying out a path, and it should be replicated. Okay, this is important. Anybody who's writing any entrance exam, this is important. This line you can write that, if you need to address and create a model of drawing informal businesses into formal sector. Okay, any informal business, there is informal sector is huge in our country, and if you are planning that any informal sector should be formalized, so one of the ways or solution could be, you can quote PM-SVANidhi as a model. We can use this kind of a model to further convert something else, some other informal activity, into formal activity or formal businesses. Okay, this could be one of the models, although right now not very successful. I would say there are still problems of identification and implementation, but still it can be replicated. We can think of it. I'm not saying we should do it, I'm saying we may think of it. So may and should, definitely usme farak hai. I'm suggesting, not saying that you should do it. To end this, it is indeed reassuring that fintech and other innovative solutions can be leveraged to help street vendors thrive and not just survive in post-pandemic world. Right. So the conclusion I would say of this article would be that government in itself is trying that street vendors form a major part of informal economy. So what we are trying here is that street vendors should formalize and should come together, and we should convert them into a formal economy or a formal sector, so that they also contribute into economic activities. But at the same time, we are promoting digitization. We are saying that, okay, if you undertake digital payments more, so, and if you show us your digital payments, you don't have to put up or keep something else as a collateral. Your digital payment mechanism is okay, and I can see your transactions. So I'll provide you loan of this much, so that you can also thrive and you can also flourish. And that's the thing. So we are in a way hitting, this is a double-edged sword. So we are trying to help the street vendors, as well as we are trying to promote digitization in our economy through a major sector, which is forming a huge part and a very important part of informal sector. I think with that, I would want to end this video. I really hope it was helpful in some or the other sense. And people who are preparing for any entrance, this is an important scheme, which is going to definitely come in your exam, because and otherwise, if not an exam, and if you have any written exam, and if you're writing an answer, you can definitely quote this. Because see, unemployment, informal economy, formal economy, organized sector, unorganized sector, and GDP contribution by every sector, manufacturing, agriculture, service, and all these things are definitely going to come up in your exam. So when you are having any question related to formal and informal economy, you can always quote PM-SVANidhi as an example, street vendors as an example, and how they can be converted into a formal sector, and how other things can be. So you can always quote this as an example. Also, you can take up many points from this article and use it in your examination. If not, you can always use this entire video's discussion in any of your social interactions, because even in the social interactions these days, people who don't know anything about what is happening in the world around us, we tend to stay quiet. So it's better talking rather than talking nonsense and gossiping. It's better that you talk something substantial and about the economy. So this will always help you, even if you're not going for any entrance. That's a tip, just a suggestion. With that, I would want to wrap up. Thank you so much for showing so much of love to Equipoise classes. I'll see you with another video. And also, guys, from this Monday, we are starting a new series. We are reading economic concepts, basic concepts from Tamil Nadu book, but doesn't matter from which book we are reading. We are doing basic concepts. You can go to my channel, see the upcoming videos, put on the notification bell, so that you are notified when the video is uploaded. And they are very basic topics. What is economy? What is capitalism? What is socialism? And everything you'll get on this channel. So stay tuned, guys. Keep showing so much of love to Equipoise classes. I'll see you next time. Till then, take care and bye-bye.